Good morning, everyone. Welcome you to this Success at CA exams for Inter Paper 3A Income Tax Law. Really gives me immense pleasure to welcome you this session, and I am CA Aparna Chauhan. Will be guiding you for this paper 3A Income Tax Law. Since your exams are really approaching very near to you and they are going to start from 1st of September itself, and you have a very limited time, so how to utilize that time, because this is not the time we can prepare for the new topics. This is the time for revision purpose and keep us motivated every time that yes, we have done our studies well. Now it's the time to perform. This is the thing which you have to keep in mind, right? So, dear students, as you are preparing for the CA examination, remember that success is not about knowing everything at once. It is about consistent effort. I am damn sure that you are putting your consistent effort for clearing your intermediate exams, right? And for the purpose of getting success and clearing your exam, what is very much required is the clear understanding of the provisions, clear understanding of the concepts, whatever be the paper it is, whatever be the subject it is. The understanding of the concept of the provision is very much required, which will only help you to score good marks in any subject. Am I right? And of course, now since your exams are approaching and you are going to appear very soon in your examination, what matters is your confidence level. And that you have to, keep it up. Your confidence level very high. Don't worry about that we have not done. Whatever you have done, make that is your strength for the appearing in the paper, right? So confidence to keep going even when the subject seems very difficult. Don't worry about the subject. It's very difficult, it's very vast. I know many people think about the income tax. Because I'm the faculty of income tax, I'm going to take you through the income tax subject only. So don't think it's very difficult one. You now, whatever you have done now, if you have put your full efforts for preparing, doing the preparation, definitely you are going to come out with the bright colors. Don't worry about it. Now it's a matter of that how you are presenting for the paper. So as we begin, I would like to share a few lines with you. इरादे मजबूत हो तो राह आसान हो जाती है. इरादे मजबूत हो तो राह आसान हो जाती है. और मेहनत सच्ची हो तो सफलता मेहरबान हो जाती है. अगर आपने सच में अच्छे से मेहनत की है तो कोई आपको आपके एग्जाम्स क्लियर करने से रोक ही नहीं सकता. इज इट? सो डोंट वरी अबाउट कि आपको वो इट में हैपन कि आपको इस टाइम पे बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट्स आपको एक साथ में लेके चलना है. उसके बाद यू हैव टू सी कि देर आर सर्टेन थिंग्स आपको लग रहा है कि यू हैव नॉट prepared, you are not aware of. Don't worry about it. Focus on the areas which you have already done your well. Okay, and before the day of your examination also, it is a mantra ki do not pick any new topic. Whatever you have done, revise thoroughly those concepts itself. And for the subject of income tax law, if I say, what is very much required is that you are abreast with the latest amendments. I hope that you all are aware ki which is this is something which you all must be knowing before preparing for your examination. But if in case you are missing somewhere, you are appearing for the old before May 26 examination, then for those students, please keep in mind that for September 26 examination, the Finance Act 2025 is relevant. And I hope that you all are preparing for your this examination as per the assessment year 26-27 only, right? So this is very much needed ki whatever you are doing preparation, you are updated, you are doing the preparation from the updated material only, right? So the relevant assessment year is 26-27. Not only for this 26-27, one thing I would like to tell you that in the May examination, what happened, they have provided some receipt, right? In case of compensation they have received, and the date of that compensation is given prior to this previous year 25-26. Of course it's a full-fledged. If you have gone through the suggested answers of May 26 examination, you have noticed that, have you noticed that first question in that they have given certain receipts which are not itself taxable in this assessment year. So the term assessment year is very relevant while you are solving the problems also. Okay, preparation is okay, you are doing preparation for this examination, but when you are attempting the question also, the dates are very, very, very crucial for you. You please note the dates given in your question paper, what date the transaction has been took place, what the dates when you have received the incomes. This is very crucial for you. So in that case, what happens now, entire information is not pertaining to this previous year 25-26. It either pertains to the succeeding previous year or to the preceding previous years. In that case, that would not be taxable. Definitely, while computing the income for the assessment, that would not form part of that total income. But even then, what do you have to do? Can you just ignore it because you have noticed it is not taxable in this year? Can you just ignore it? You cannot. What you have to do? You have to state in your answer, okay, since the receipt is with respect to that previous year, whatever with the previous, suppose it's 24-25, therefore it is not chargeable to tax in this assessment year 26-27. For that, you will be getting the marks. Okay, it's not ki you just ignore, you know ki it's not taxable, but you have to mention in your answer very clearly ki it's not become taxable this year, it's already being taxed. Or if it's succeeding years may information falls into, then it goes to that year. Okay, so this information is that needed, that you should know when the transactions are taking place. This is very, very important. Even if you notice ki for certain for example, capital, this is your advance forfeited. The date matters. Advance forfeited date hai, if you have forfeited the advance with respect to the capital transfer of capital asset and it's before your 1st April 2014, then what happens? It would be reduced from the cost of acquisition. However, when you are forfeiting that advance on or after 1st April 2014, then what happens? It would be chargeable to tax under the head other sources. So that's what I'm telling you. These dates are very relevant for you. जब भी, whenever you are attempting the question, please read the question very, very carefully. Or this is very much required while doing your case scenario based MCQs. Because what happens, dear students, what happens in the full-fledged questions? In the full-fledged question, you would get some marks for the step marks would be available, right? In case if you have done some adjustment wrong and but certain adjustment you have done correctly, for the correct things you would be getting the marks. But in case of case scenario and MCQ segment, what will happen? In case you have not chosen the correct option, you would not be fetch any marks. So this dates very crucial. With respect to the significant notification circulars, you all must be knowing what are these notifications, what is this Finance Act. I'm not going to tell you again what is this because I do not want to waste any time, any single time, because it's very, I understand that this time is very crucial for you. So my focus for the today's session is to tell you how to approach the paper during the examination. कैसे marks को hold करना है, how to score good marks in this paper, and how to now in the short span of time how to revise the concepts, how to revise the provisions, कैसे करेंगे. ठीक है, how to approach the case scenario based question, what is the paper pattern. You all must be knowing what is the paper pattern, but still today again I will be telling you how to approach the paper for the examination. First of all, you should be knowing ki what all you have to see. You all know that notification circulars are issued by the CBDT or the central government. Of course, circulars are issued by the CBDT only for the clarification purposes, and the notifications are the notifications are issued by the central government or the CBDT to support the Income Tax Act itself. They cannot make a new provision. Okay, in notification, do not come out with a new provision. They are just substantiating that provision. That's what this is all about. So notification circulars, the cutoff date is 28th of February. Why it is important? Let me tell you. If you have not gone through the statutory update, right? Because what are the publications for that purpose? You know, you have the latest updated study material with you. That is July 2025 edition. And if you have seen the cover pages, please check your cover pages whether it is updated one only. It is for May 26, September 26, and January 27 examination. And for that purpose, the assessment year is 26, 27. Okay, this is being must be mentioned on your study material. ये होना ही चाहिए. अगर आप पुरानी किताबों से if you are studying, then definitely you are going to get confused with certain things, because certain amendments being brought in by the Finance Act 2025. So you should be very sure that whatever you are studying, you please study, take up the latest things. Case scenario booklet, it is a very, 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 very important document, because your 30% of the paper would be in the form of MCQs and case scenario based questions. Okay, for the purpose of preparing for that examination, for this examination, please attempt, try to attempt all. This is the must be your second or third time revision. Okay, if you have not done a first time revision, then it's very difficult for you. Please try to solve the case scenario, because what happens, the basis of the case scenarios with whatever being asked in the examination is taken from these case scenarios, or from the descriptive questions also, because the preparation strategy for the case scenario based questions and the MCQ segment and this your descriptive segment is the same. The provision or income tax law remains the same for both the concepts. Okay, descriptive answer or case scenario also. What type of questions can be asked from the same provision is you will get the help from the basis of this booklet which is given to you. So do solve the case scenarios which is given in the case scenario booklet, and the latest one only please use, that is February 26 edition. Okay, I will take you through the again the institute's website, where I will be showing you what are the relevant things, what are the relevant publications which you are referring into. Then RTP, dear students, since you are appearing for September 26 examination, and you are knowing that for the May 26 examination also the same assessment year was relevant. Okay, and the same amendments are also applicable for you. So for that, whatever with the RTP, even the RTP, the suggested answers which were being given to you for May examination, which is available for the May examination, are also relevant for September 26 examination. So you can practice the RTP given to you for May 26 examination, and the RTP which is available for September 26 examination. These are very, very important documents, publications, because it will help you out to assess the preparedness for the examination. It's not key you just take up these publications and start just reading it. Do not do that reading habit, even if you have a short of time, but make sure that you are solving this RTPs and the MTPs on your own without seeing their answers. Once you have done with your questions, once you have done and attempt these questions, then you match your answers with the answers given there. It's a very important exercise for all of you. And just after telling you, then I would like to know from you ki what all you are looking for to guide you with respect to this paper. So this is the RTP. Please do it on your own. जिसने नहीं की है, please again do it. अगर जिसने कर लिया, please again do. नहीं किया, please you do it again. Okay. So Saransh is a publication which will be helping out, which is giving you in the short summary of your provisions. But for intermediate students, if I tell you now, the study material itself suffice. Why? Because in the study material itself, let us recapitulate is given to you. And in for the heads of income, to understand the heads of income, we have given the performa for every head of income, right? And that is very important. How to present your answer will be for the purpose of knowing that how to prepare present your answers. That performer would going to be help you a lot. So make use of your study material fully. In case if you still feel ki nahi, we have to need some notes, then you can visit the Saransh, of course. And if you have just revising through the Saransh, then you can of course take use of the Saransh. But every time I keep on saying, try to make your own notes. But now this is not the time ki again you are going to make the notes. Whatever you have to prepare from that only. So model test paper booklet is again a very, very important booklet, because it is based on the examination, past examinations only. And it is giving you an idea what type of the paper going to be asked for this September 26 examination. It contains around 8 model test papers. Hope you all have attempted. Please take the latest one, and the latest revised edition is available on the portal only. So take the printout from there of this model test papers. जिसने भी नहीं किया, because this is, आप जितना रिवाइज करो, this is the time to make the revision whenever you are scheduling whatever your study plans now, whatever you are doing. So uh, do solve the questions. The more you solve the questions, the more you will knowing ki where you are need to prepare extra. Now you need to prepare for this provision again. Okay, you will be knowing the areas which requires more practice, which require more revision. So for that purpose, make use of this RTP. Okay, then your model test paper, this case scenario booklet. These are the very important जो आप daily basis पे you try to solve certain things. Take one paper from this model test papers which will help you to revise the thoroughly entire syllabus. You will be able to revise from these model test papers, right? So dear students, now I would like to know from you how many of you have done the RTPs. Just raise your hands, your digital hands. I want to know from you how many of you have done the RTPs, which is available for September 26th exam. Just raise your hands. I would like to know from you how many of you have done the RTPs. Shrikar, what about the other students? Please raise fast. Because today I would like to take up the RTP, and how many of you would able to answer these questions, answer without seeing their answer, you would be able to do it. Only three students. What about others? नहीं की अभी तक, कोई बात नहीं. मैं आई विल बी टेकिंग यू थ्रू द आरटीपी और किस तरीके से पेपर आते हैं. वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग दैट. ओनली टू स्टूडेंट्स रेज देयर हैंड्स. आई डोंट नो व्हाट अबाउट अदर्स. एंड दीज टू वेरी गुड. It's very appreciable that you have done the RTPs. And what about the MTPs? Just lower down your hands and then again raise the hands who have done the MTP, because we have come out with the two MTPs also. Gayatri, okay. Is MTPs have done many students. Good, 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 good. Four have raised their hands. So don't worry. जिसने नहीं की है, again, I will be taking you that MTPs also. In case you have some doubt, you may ask me. Or further, how to approach these case scenario. This we will be taking certain these case scenarios which we have given in the RTPs and the MTPs, that we will be helping you. Just lower down your hands. Thanks, Shikar, and many people have done. But please, whoever not done now, please do your MTPs, because this is going to help a lot to know what is the level of your preparation, and it would boost your you know time management is very much required. Because what happens now, students generally comes to us, they say, ma'am, we know the paper, I don't know why we would not be able to score marks. They could not understand why they could not score marks. They could not solve the entire paper during that limited time of 3 hours, because this is only section A, which is of 50 marks. Then you have the section B also for this same paper, right? Section taxation. So how to take up these two sections together and to complete this within 3 hours? For that purpose, please do MTPs. Okay, model test papers given to you. This is very much required. What else regarding these weightages? Let me tell you. Of course, for every paper we have given the section wise weightages. Section wise weightages means you must be knowing the section wise weightages giving you certain chapter. We have divided entire syllabus into 5 sections. The income tax law paper is divided into 5 sections comprising of some chapters. But frankly speaking, for attempting the case scenario based questions, it become very difficult for you to approach those unless you have prepared the entire things, because it is an integration of everything. you know it is the integration of many topics together in the case scenario based questions. But of course, in the descriptive segment, if I say the descriptive segments, it can help you out somewhere. For example, the 20 to 25% huge weightage is given for section 5, which is comprising of your chapter 9, that is computation of total income and income tax payable by an individual, right? Then, in spite of this, that this is from section 5, what will overall understanding of these topics is very much required to attempt this single question of 15 marks. 15 marks, a compulsory question would be asked from this section. Okay, and this is possible only once you are aware of this heads of income section, you are aware of this clubbing and set of deductions, some portion are asked from the deductions also, then your advanced tax again. These are all integrated in this one part. Majorly, if I tell you, in this compulsory quotient, main emphasis is on PGBP head. PGBP is one of the important head for you. Major emphasis for of this quotient, this section, whatever the question is asked, is on PGBP. Of course, they test your capital gains also, they can test your salaries also, they can test your house property also, and then, of course, clubbing and deductions. These all are tested, but major portion is from PGBP, from this section. Then if you see, the first section provide you a weightage of 10 to 20% marks, which is of 6 to 8 marks. Okay, 6 to 8 marks are being covered from this section, which is on basic concepts and residential status. You all must be knowing residential status. समझ में आता है सबको, I think. You all know what are the conditions and what are the stay in India criteria for determining the residential status. But still, they are not limiting these sections to the residential status. They go beyond it. For example, if you have gone through this suggested answer this time, in determining the residential status itself, once you are being asked to compute, which is required actually, depending on the circumstances, which is required that you know how to compute the total income other than the from foreign sources, right? Total income from other than from the foreign sources. In that case, they have tested the provision of LTCG, long term capital gains. They have tested the provisions of other sources. Unless you are knowing those provisions, you would not be able to determine the residential status. So again, they are again going to this heads of income basically, right? So heads of income is one of the very important for your examination, because only if you see 25 to 30% weightage is given to it, but आपको 14 to 18 marks from here, plus this 15 marks is also from here basically. ये भी आपका जो समझ लीजिए, this 12 marks का तो at least from the heads of income से ही क्वेश्चन आ रहा है. So heads of income is very crucial. कैसे करना है पीजीबीपी के क्वेश्चंस को आपको सॉल्व, we will understand that. Then, of course, one of the question is from a set of clubbing provisions and then deductions. It is possible that single question may be asked from the each topic, or a consolidated question can be asked from this section 3, 15 to 20% marks, that is 8 to 12 marks. This is independent. This I am saying this can be asked independently from this section itself, right? Then your advanced tax TDS again is an independent, which is 8 to 12 marks, because it is not dependent on the other provisions. But यहाँ पे, so here it will become your scoring thing. यहाँ पे if you see, this become your scoring thing. यहाँ से you can prepare, TDS, TCS की अलग से if you have done. What is I'm saying you, this TDS portion is very scoring. एक full fledged one question is asked in the form of descriptive from this segment, and it can also be asked in the form of case scenario based questions. So 8 to 12 marks are there from this section itself. ठीक है, ये एक बार अलग से you think of it कि today I am going to prepare for my advanced tax TDS provisions and provision for filing return of income. In that way, I can secure my 8 to 12 marks. Right? So this is one day you will take it up. Then on the other day you can take it up this one, the residential status. And of course this, because what happens now, when they test the other heads of income in this residential status, it would not be that difficult. They would not go into depth of it. They will be testing you in the shallow form in these provisions of heads of income. So this is easily approachable for you, but you should have the basic understanding of residential status, in-depth understanding of residential status. This residential status, I'm telling you, dear students, it is not only going to help you out for clearing this examination. Even once you have gone to your final paper, these provisions are same and they are tested at depth at the final level also. Even for your SPOM, if you have knowing the SPOM papers, there are also one paper which is on international taxation. The whole international taxation is based on this residential status concept. So I'm telling you, this is very important. So do have, prepare for it, revise the residential status very carefully. This is important thing. So 6 to 8 marks and 8 to 12 marks you can keep for 1 2 days time, give to these two sections, and you will be ready with this around 20 marks paper, right? Then we will be moving to the heads of income is very important. Kaise approach karna hai, we will be understanding. Then give 1 day for this three section, which are very small section, but of course they are being tested. They are being tested, right? So 8 to 12 marks are there from this segment. I'm telling you this is not 50 marks because one of your question is given in to you in the internal choice. 10 marks question is given to you internal choice. So 10 marks and one internal choice is also there. So 14 marks paper is extra. So 64 marks ke basis pe this division is given to you. This is given the division based on the 64 marks paper. Of course, you would be asked to compute this. You are going to appear only for the 50 marks paper, right? So this is section wise weightages. This is somehow you can use it, but at this level, intermediate level, it would not that much help you. So it better to do your strategically preparation, that you start with the first section. You know that the first section is done from my side, then heads of income, do it thoroughly. PGBP again, do revise it properly, PGBP portion, right? Because it's also revolve around certain provisions. If you see the PGBP, because once you are doing with the particular chapter, that first of all you should know what all is the coverage of the chapter. Because once you are preparing for something, for some chapter, what you do now, you do prepare a mind map of that chapter, so that you know ki what all is covered in that particular chapter. You should be knowing in that format. Ki this I know about. For example, if you talk about the PGBP itself, suppose we talk about the PGBP itself, what happens, depreciation is very very important in PGBP. क्योंकि in every question depreciation part is being tested. Depreciation is very important. Additional depreciation is it, or is it normal depreciation, or is it in case of default tax regime, if you they are testing you, if the new machinery is purchased, then 180 days condition is very very relevant. On what type of machinery is the additional depreciation is available to you. So depreciation portion is one of the things. Some rates are being given to you in that chapter itself. The block of assets concepts is very important. When you sold the depreciable asset, what will happen? It would arouse to short-term capital gains. So depreciation part is very important in that chapter. Then what else? TDS portion. If you have not deducted the TDS, if you are making the payment to a non-resident, disallowances are attracted. In case if you are making payment to a non-resident, 100% disallowances are attracted. If you are making a payment to a resident and TDS is not deducted, then 30% disallowances are attracted. If you are making a payment in cash format, then what is the disallowances there? This is about right 43B. 43B again is very very important. 43B, if you go MSME, so we will take up एक बार we will go through the performa once that, so that we will be just revising that PGBP again. So this is the format. I'm telling you mind map. If you are preparing now, so you are knowing ki this much I have done. If any type of question is being asked from this particular provision, I would be able to answer it, right? So this is very very important. So do prepare these heads of income by taking a mind map. Salaries is very very important. Na, every time salary question is being asked. Salaries means every time question is being asked. Salary कहाँ पर revolve करते? Salary में आप if you go to the salary, majorly main emphasis on the salary is your perquisites valuation. Perquisites valuation is very important in salaries. Car perquisite, whether it is rent free accommodation, your interest on loan, medical facilities, right? Medical facilities. Then your allowances may, if you go, then they test your HRA provisions, then they test your convenience allowances. So free laptop, transfer of assets, transfer of assets. Perquisites, I'm telling you, perquisites are very important portion of the salaries. So perquisites को अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए अगेन आप देखो कि मेरे को ये वाले परक्विजिट्स जनरली पूछे जाते हैं. जनरली द क्वेश्चंस आर बीइंग आस्क्ड फ्रॉम दीज परक्विजिट्स. So revise those perquisite valuations while preparing for revising for your salaries, right? Revise for the limits because you have to remember the limits. Retirement benefits ki limits, gratuity, your leave encashments ki limits, then your pension, committed pension, uncommitted pension, right? This is so whole salaries is also revolving around certain provisions, right? Main kya hai? Basic salaries, you know, then your allowances, then your perquisites, then your deductions. These all four things only in salaries, but it's become so vast because there are so many types of perquisites are being given to the employee. And then this is salary. If you go to the house property again, then we will move to the house property. House property mainly, what is the emphasis? That you should know how to compute the annual value. First thing that you should know how to compute the annual value. And the second thing is municipal taxes. Every time they ask the student, you know, to know when to provide the deduction with respect to municipal taxes. Can I ask you when to provide the deduction with respect to municipal taxes from any one of you? What is the major, important condition for allowing the deduction with respect to municipal taxes? Just give me through the chat. Yes, yes, very good. Paid in that year and paid by the owner. Because chargeability section is says na when the income is chargeable under the PGBP, when it is owned by, right? So what I am telling you, house property mein, if you go to the house property section, then what you are going to how to matlab, you know, get the hold on the house property section. That's what I'm telling you. Municipal taxes may every time they test. Then they test you on interest on house property, interest on this borrowings which you do every time. One or the other question is given on house property. Then इसी तरीके से PGPP we have taken, then capital gains. So in that format you can do the revision. In that format you do the revision of the chapters, right? Shivam, I'm just telling you how to, you know, do the revision for the chapters. That's what I'm telling you, how to do the revisions, how to take up the chapters for your revision purposes, right? This is what I want to, you know, just tell you कि किस तरीके से how to we will proceed for revising the topics. This is the way I want to tell you. Now, in this, because in the screen, you must be confused with the screen because in the screen is the pattern of the question paper. You all know what is the question paper pattern. You all know now. Just raise your hands. Anyone want me to explain this? What are the paper pattern for the question paper? Anyone, please raise your hand if you have any doubt relating to paper pattern. Shall we go ahead with the paper pattern? Because you all know now what is the paper pattern. See, in this paper pattern, just briefly, first question would be your compulsory question that I have informed you what on what aspects this question would be there that we have discussed. Then out of the remaining three questions of 10 marks, student will have to attempt two questions. So 15 plus 10 plus 10. It becomes your 35 marks paper, descriptive segment. Then this is your 15 marks is a case scenario based. So it is coming to 50 marks, right? This is the paper pattern. That first question would be compulsory. That is from your computation of total income and tax liability. And the remaining two questions that you have to select from out of the three questions carrying 10 marks each in the descriptive segment. Then 15 marks is your case scenario based question, right? So dear students, this we have discussed how to manage time also. I will let's tell you, we can take the how to manage time for this examination. Let me tell you. Then we will be moving forward to the taking some case scenarios, which we have, you know, given to you in from the RTP. And one more thing I would like to tell you, key start update is also very important that we will be discussing. First, how to manage time in the examination. You know, you will be having 3 hours time for both the sections. 3 hours time for both the sections plus 15 minutes reading time. 15 minutes is your reading time, right? So 3 hours में two sections करने हैं. 50 marks, 50 marks income tax. So you will be having for income tax, this is 1.5 hours. It's not restricting you have to solve this income tax in 1.5 hours. It depends on you. If you know the GST portion well, then you can approach the GST portion first. Of course, the answer sheets would be different for the GST and the income tax, right? So you can, of course, appear the GST portion first if you have done it beforehand, before within one before 1.5 hours. Then you can go to the income tax portion. If you think, no, I will do income tax portion first, that also your choice only. So effectively, if you say, because 50-50 marks paper is there, so 1.5 mark, 1.5 hour will be there for income tax portion and GST portion, right? In that case, the 15 minutes time is given to you. Now, in this 15 minutes time, entire paper is available with you. The MCQ segment is also there with you. The descriptive portion is also there with you. So how to utilize this 15 minutes time? First, you just go through the entire paper very fastly, because from the compulsory segment, compulsory question you have to attempt it. But to make a choice from the optional questions, this reading time would be helpful for you. For to make a choice from this optional three questions from the income tax segment, I'm telling you, income tax segment, you have to make a choice. Then you have to choose the two questions. To make a choice, you just read the paper and select the question, whatever you are going to appear for. And then you know that you can attempt any question first. So that choice you also do. If you are not interested to do the compulsory question first, then you please don't do this compulsory question. You can pick up from the other questions. You can attempt first. Thereafter, during this 15 minutes time utilize in that way. Case scenario also you just go through, you will come to know ki on what concepts the case scenario is there. Try to, of course, first read the MCQs. Always it's saying that first read the MCQs, so that you should unnecessary do not frame the questions based on the facts only. So first try to first read the MCQs, then again read the facts thoroughly, because it happens certain times key facts are not given in a sequence. They may be in a different order. It may be happen to some information relating to, for example, capital gains is not given immediately in continuation, but some information is given after second para which is not pertains to capital gains. For that purpose, you have to go through entire fact thoroughly you have to go to. But once you know that what are the requirements of the question, what are the MCQs are from, you can just look at the MCQs, then find the relevant information from the facts, then only you attempt the MCQs. In that way you can utilize your reading time. Once you know that what questions you are going to attempt first, which are the questions you are attempting, then you can start your writing immediately after the 15 minutes reading time. In that way it would be easy for you to manage the time. Once you have selected the question, you have knowing which question you are doing the first, make sure that whatever be the sections of a particular question you are doing in sequence only. It should not happen that 2a you have attempted here, then you have writing the 2 3a. Please do attempt all the sections of a particular question in a sequence only. All the parts of a particular question in a sequence only. If you have done 2a, then you attempt 2b, then it's 2c also, then 2c. Then you move to the 3a, 3b. In case you are not knowing the answer of particular part, then you can leave the blank space. Then once you have done with your entire other questions, then you can come again for solving this remaining part. If you are still not able to attempt that, you just cross a line and you can complete your paper. This is the way you have to do. Thereafter, since you are knowing what you have done, allocation. Okay, how to allocate? The first question 15 marks is compulsory question. How much time would you allocate? As per the time, as per the marks given to that first question 15 marks, around 27 minutes are there. 27 minutes as per the marks will be there with you for solving this 15 marks question. Similarly, you will be having 27 minutes for solving the MCQ segment also. So in MCQ segment, you know that you are not going to give any reasoning, you are not going to give any computations, any workings. So do not give this 27 minutes. Reduce this amount, reduce this, reduce this time while doing the MCQ. What happens? You have 90 minutes altogether, 90 minutes altogether, and you have 15 minutes, 27 minutes I'm giving you for the first question. Definitely first question will be taking you 30 minutes around time, because it's a full-fledged question. You have to, attempt the entire thing, write the questions, write the answer in a sequence, write the reasoning also then and there. Then it will take time. But for the MCQ segment, if I tell you, then take around 20 to 20 minutes only. Utilize that time in the descriptive portion, right? Similarly, then you feel, then you do the 10 marks question. 10 marks question mein how much it is coming? Around 18 minutes. 90 minutes you are having. So 10 marks mein, it's around 18 minutes time is there for solving this 10 marks questions. But it may take more time, because what happens now, two parts are there in the optional choice. And in the two parts, suppose salary question is there and 6 marks are given to you. It may require more time. 20 minutes may also require. So what you will do, you will reduce your time attempting this MCQ segment and utilize that time in doing the descriptive portion. Which you do first, it's also again your choice only. If you feel ki you, because you have done reading of the entire paper, that time only you will understand ki yeah, I am able to solve the MCQs. But whatever spend time on reading, try to read it again while doing the MCQs, because MCQs, attempting the choosing the correct choice is very important. Choosing the correct option and marking in your OMR sheet is very, very important, because here there is no step marking. Whatever you are choosing the answer, on that basis only you will be getting the marks. So what you do when you do the MCQ segment, you just again go through everything and again check whether whatever answers you are approaching, they are correct or not. Revision time is very important. So in that way, 27 minutes I'm allocating for your this thing, compulsory question, 20 minutes to the your MCQ segment, then remaining time is available with you for the doing your descriptive segment. In that manner, you can utilize your time, right? So this is about how to manage the times, and for that purpose to solve the MTPs. The manner I am telling you to solve the MTPs and allocate your time accordingly for doing these MTPs. Two series of MTPs are also available. Please try to do solve the MTP portion. Now students, how many of you are aware for September this examination? For your September examination, September 26, there is a start update. How many of you are knowing that there is a start update available on the website? Just raise your hands. Are you aware of the statutory update? Have you gone through it? Downloaded it? If you are not aware, only two students raise the hands. What I should assume? See, if you see, I'm just telling you from where you will get your start update. Just a minute. If you go to the your new scheme, you will get a study material here, right? From the website, ICAI website, you have to go to the new scheme. Here, all the study material, everything is given. Once you go to this study material in intermediate course, if you go, then income tax law. Don't bother about this May 27, September 27 exams. You jump to the September 26 exams. There is study material, then there is a statutory update. This is available. If you have not downloaded it, please download it, because some notifications are relevant for salary purpose also. These are very important for you. There are only three further changes which are made after the release of the study material. Everything is contained in a study material. Apart from this, there are some notifications with respect to salary income. With respect to salary, there is a notification that it is providing some limit in case of specified employees. They have increased the salary limit to 4 lakhs. And in case of medical facilities में exemption is available. For if the employer is incurring certain incurring, yeah, Gayatri, you are right that you have gone through. It's very good. Other students also, please go through this statutory update. There is one more update with respect to this, is again very important, that it is telling you, now when a pen become inoperative, certain consequences are applicable. Certain consequences become effective. So in that case, higher rate of TDS is applicable. When you have not furnished the pen, then higher rate of TDS or TCS are deductible or collectible. In that case, what happens? Unnecessary, for just not linking the Aadhaar with the PAN number, you will be facing the higher TDS, right? And then, of course, while filing return of income, you can get the refund of that TDS. But to avoid that consequence, what they have done, CBDT has come out with this notification that when you are paying the amount to the person, when a payment is made or credit to a person after 1/8/2025, and pen is made operative. When it become made operative? Once you have linked it with the Aadhaar card, within 30 days your pen become operative. That you must be knowing. So once your pen become operative within 2 months, if it become operative within 2 months from the end of the month in which the amount is paid or credited, then the higher TDS would not be attracted. They have saved it, right? And here, if the payment is made during this period, this is the early period, 37 2025 tak, if you made the payment and you have your pen become operative ke liye you have to link it with the Aadhaar, right? Your Aadhaar is to be linked with the, or this pen number. In that case, what happens? Your PAN become operative by paying a certain fees. It is important, by paying some fees. 1000 rupees fees is there. Then when you pay that fees, your PAN become operative within 30 days. In that case, these consequences of higher TDS, this may be tested. Okay, this provision can be tested, because they are saying higher TDS would not be deductible if once your PAN become operative, in case where the amount is paid or credited to a person from this date to this date, that is 24 to 31st July 25. Your previous year is 25/26, so this date is important for you. In that case, once your pen become operative on or before 39 2025, अगर आपका pen become operative before this date, then this tax deductible consequences at the higher rate would not be attracted. Okay, and if the payment is made thereafter on 1st of August 2025, in that case within 2 months it should be made operative, within 2 months. Otherwise, you will be deducting the TDS at the higher rate. This is important one, right? Please do note it. And again, salaries one is also important one. This is again, here it is with respect to some, they have notified the unified pension scheme in line with the NPS. This is a Taxation Law Amendment Act. Okay, this is Amendment Act, not a notification. It is an Amendment Act. They have introduced the unified pension scheme for the purpose of providing the deduction, under Section 80 CCD CA. Okay, this is the new thing. So it can be tested, right? That unified pension scheme may also you are making some deposits, then you would be eligible for deduction. Then what happens? This medical expenditure. So please, whoever not note down it, you have not downloaded it, please download it, read it thoroughly. Okay, and in case of any doubt, you can write to us. This is the statutory update which is available on the portal only. It is not available in the hard copy form. Physical form, this statutory update is not available. You have to download from the website itself, right? This is one of the important thing. Then what else? You all, one important thing for the income tax paper, let me tell you, are the amendments. What you do once you are revising, the things, then whatever be the amendments which are made by the Finance Act 2025, which are the amendments made by the Finance Act 2025, are relevant for you. You know, now So where you will get these amendments? If you go through these initial pages of your study material, right? If you go through these initial pages of your study material, you will be noticing that in the initial pages itself, these highlights of the significant changes in the study material is given. One of these section is there. Here you just go through these once you are done, because you know default tax regime may these threshold the slab rates being changed, rebate under section 87A limit is being changed, right? Exemption from withdrawals is NSS is being there. Then important is the TDS provisions, TDS rates ke liye, because before the day of your examination, make sure that you have just again brush up your threshold limits for applicability of TDS TCS, because an independent question would be asked from TDS segment, right? Similarly from return filing thing. So rates are very important. Revised rates are there. 2% rate for certain things. 2% rate is there. Overseas, your this thing education cases may TCS on remittances under LRS. It isn't very important, very important for you. And questions basically in the income tax paper, in the question paper, there is a major role for amendments. That's why I'm telling you, once before the day of your examination, try to go through these. You must revise these amendments. Every amendment is given in your study material also. For detailed understanding, of course, you have to refer the content given in the chapter, right? You have to refer the content given in the chapter, which is given in bold and italics. So you would be able to understand what are the amendments. But to just for the purpose of revision, what are the things you just again will help you out. Okay, these are the changes which are applicable. In case of dividend, there is change that threshold is being increased. For interest, okay, independent, because independent question is being asked from this. So this is the whole section which will be help you out to understand what are the updated return. Again, they have, you can update your return within 48 months. Earlier you are only can do it for 24 months. Now they have increased to 48 months, right? With the payment of higher tax and all additional tax. So this is important part. This we have given to understand what are the changes from the existing study. Now let's move to our RTP segment. Let's do some questions. Are you ready with the questions? Can we start our case scenario segments, or anything which you would like to ask? Just raise your hands. I will. You can unmute yourself, so that I will ask to unmute yourself. You just raise your hands in case if you have any doubt with respect to these aspects of treasury updates, the other any kind of doubt. You just raise your hands. Mathili, you if you can unmute. Gayatri, have you gone through the model paper? Because it's not wrong. Which one? Let me tell you what, Mathili. Technical team, please allow Mathili to unmute. Unmute. Mathili, please tell me what's your query. I will take up Gayatri your query. I will tell you from where you will get the latest model test paper. Mathili, meanwhile, I'm showing you from where you will get the latest model test paper. From BoS knowledge portal, you go. This is important for you. If you are preparing from your old model test paper, please download it from the website. The model test paper, revised model test paper for income tax law, there is a revised in this is right. From where you have to go? From the BoS knowledge portal, right? From BoS knowledge portal you go, then click on to visit this. Then you go to model test papers, intermediate. Here you will get model test paper 3A, May 26 onwards. So May 26, September 26 and January 27 exams. This model test paper booklet is relevant for you. So please download it in case if you have any doubt. Gayatri, please try to solve this. take the printout of this paper, okay, booklet, and then solve it. Okay. So, Mathili, you raise, Harry, you please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yeah.
Ma'am, my query is how can we prepare in this time we have 2.5 days in the tax exam.
Okay. Okay.
So how can we prepare in that 2.5 days whole tax? Because the
Whole.
tax is a vast subject with vast portion.
Okay, okay. So, see, once you have done your studies, and you know that it's a revision times. So, what I should suggest for you is keep whatever the notes you have done. If you have done prepare some notes, try to revise those notes. The areas which you feel ki you have done wrongly the concept when you have done solve these questions. So, those points you should revise, right? Then what is important, that's what I'm telling you, the amendments portion you should please revise the statutory update which is available to you. Then the
Ma'am,
this
where is it available?
this statutory update is available on the institute's website. If you go, see, I have shown you this institute's website where you have to go to the institute's website. Let me again take you to this ICAI.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to go to the new scheme. There you go to the study material, then intermediate, you go, then income tax law. Here you get the two study materials. One is relevant for your May 26, September 26, and January 26 exams. There is a statutory update for September 26 exams. You
So ma'am,
download it.
from this new amendments we get a question.
Yeah, this can be linked, for example, salary question is given to you. And there is some medical expenditure which is being incurred by the employer is given to you. So if for providing the exemption, there are certain limits is given that your what should be your gross total income. Only then it would be exempted. For that purpose, this concept may be tested, right?
Oh,
Understand? So you try
yes,
to
ma'am.
understand it. Okay, how they can link these amendments with the in the questions, because it's not they will not be asking you straightforward question or knowledge based questions.
Yeah,
They
they would be asking through consolidation questions.
Yeah, they would be asking you through the application. They would be testing the application of these provisions. For example,
Yes,
I'm telling you the PAN become operative because higher rate of TDS is deductible once you have not linked the Aadhaar with your PAN. But they are saying
yes,
the higher rate of TDS would not be applicable once it become operative within 2 months when the
yes.
payment is made after 1st of August, right?
August.
Or before, and something date is given if you have made the payment before on this thing 30th of September, July is given, then in that case what happens, you have to link it with 31st of July may payment is done, then 30th of 9 2020.
September.
है ना? Why when it become operative? When you link it with the Aadhaar by payment of that fees amount, and by payment of within 30 days it become operative. So they will be asking you some question based on these aspects, right? It's not a straightforward question ki whether it will be deductible or not. They will be
Yes,
giving you some fact that the person have linked the Aadhaar on this date. What would be the amount of the TDS? This payment is made by him on this date. But however, he has furnished this information to the tax deductor that his PAN become operative on this date. So what would be the TDS rate? In these facts form, they will can ask this question. Are you getting?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mathili, yeah, you are saying that margin relief
Yeah,
can come.
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that
Is
are you
there any amendment related to
relating to
is there any amendment related to marginal relief or the that rebate section? Is
rebate?
rebate applicable on the
Hmm.
casual income and special rate tax incomes like capital gains under 112A, 112?
See, rebate section के लिए, if you go through our study material, rebate, there would be rebate in case of optional tax regime and default tax regime. You must be
Yes,
knowing कि there is a different total income criteria is there. The threshold for
yes.
under optional tax regime is 5 lakh. In case of
2
default tax
lakh to
regime,
50,000 to 5 lakhs in optional and default up to 12 lakhs.
12 lakhs. But in case of optional tax regime, they have restricted the rebate only against section 112A. 112A is what? Relating to your long-term capital
Ye-
gain, right? On a listed
Yes,
there is. In that respect, they have restricted it only. But in case of default tax regime, they have restricted to other incomes which are taxable at the specific rates, right? So it would
Special
not
rate
be
incomes.
special rates, yeah. It would not be available against those incomes. It's clearly being written in the section 87A, right? So in
Okay.
that case, it would not be applicable. But of course, you should be remembering the higher limits. It's very necessary. Right.
Okay,
Marginal
ma'am.
relief, of course, there is no change in the margin relief. Margin relief is available once your total income exceeds marginally to a particular limit, where from where the surcharge become applicable.
Surcharge becomes applicable.
Once surcharge is applicable, then rebate will not be applicable, because rebate is applicable only when you have that limited income, total income, right? Surcharge is applicable
Yeah.
once you have a higher income. Total income in case of individual exceeds 50 lakhs, 1 crore, and that portion, right? Margin relief accordingly will be available. So there are two methods are given in the study material. That's what Mathili is asking, that two methods are given in the study material. Which should we follow? Any method you can follow. It's not that you have to, solve the question based on the both the methods. There is no requirement. You can follow any of the methods, right? Anything else? So amendments, I'm telling you, I have informed you what are the amendments. There you have any other query? Just lower down your hand if you do not have any query.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to
Ma'am,
ask?
how
Mhm.
would we solve the MCQ questions? How can we practice them at home?
See, for practicing the MCQ segment, there is a case scenario booklet. Okay, please take the latest case scenario booklet only, which is available on the physical form also, on the website also. Do
Is it
solve.
available on the ICAI website?
Yeah, it's available on the ICAI website also, or in your CDS portal also it's available, because it's very high time. You cannot have time, take the CDS. You just, if you do not have the latest one, please download it today itself and take make use of the latest case scenario booklet only for this purpose. This is the income tax,
Okay.
which is clearly mentioning on the cover page. This is applicable, relevant for May 26, September,
May 26th.
right? So this booklet you have to take use of. There are certain case scenarios given, because it's comprising of both the sections, and it's been given, so you can make use of income tax law. Again, it's an amended only, and for GST also, please refer the latest one only. For other subjects also, because they have there is an increase in the case scenarios, please take use of latest case scenarios booklets for the purpose of practicing your MCQ segment. Okay. So now let me just take you through. Have you done your RTP? I just want to take you through the RTP question case scenarios specifically. If you have gone through this RTP segment, should we start with this RTP? Just raise your hands. Yeah, Dhar is ready. What about others? So that we would be able to, revise certain provisions with the help of this case scenario only. Because if you see in this case scenario, there are certain things. What are the provisions are being integrated in this case scenario are TDS provisions. 194J is tested, where there is an amendment, plus 194 IA is also tested in this segment. Then TCS provisions. TCS provisions may, if you see 206C 1G, and there is an amendment which is being tested in this RTP. Then apart from that, there is salaries. Salaries provisions are being, but of course not in very detail, very few, simple form of provisions are tested in the case of salaries. Then there is capital gains. Taxation is there. Then default tax regime, the new slab rates is being tested, because this is based on the latest amendments only. It would help you to revise those things actually. Once you do one case scenario, it will be helping you to revise certain provisions. So that's why I'm telling you, do solve the latest MTP booklets only, which will help you out to revise those many things from the your concepts. And you would able to know ki where you are lacking, where you are need to further practice it. That's why I'm telling you, do solve the all the MTPs. MTP booklet. Then house property provisions are also tested in this house property. Or what else? These are the provisions which are being tested in a single case scenario. So shall we start with this? Here, let me read you through this case scenario, or should we take up the first questions? Let's read the first questions, then we will be coming to our case scenario, right? What are the first question? First question is with respect to compute the income or loss under the head income from house property of Mr. Anirudh for the assessment year 26-27. In case of a loss, determine the amount eligible for set off against the other heads of income. So this is on house property. This question is on house property. You don't know what are the facts. For that purpose, you have to visit to the facts of the case scenario. Then what else? Next question is on TCS. If you see, the authorized bank is required to collect TCS under the liberalized LRSP. This is on LRS scheme of foreign remittances. So this is on TCS provisions, right? Then this again, this is on capital gains provisions. So without going to the initially reading the case scenario, you are just looking at the MCQs, okay? And you are just capturing key these MCQs are based on what provisions. Unless you read the facts, you would not be able to understand. Of course, broadly, you will be knowing ki, yeah, this is on TDS, this is on TCS, this is on house property. But in that segment also, which provisions are being tested? Because capital gains is very vast. It's very huge thing. It's not only computing the long-term capital gains on a residential property. It can ask you on shares, it can ask you on anything. So here it is on commercial plot, but of course they are also asking you to compute the tax thereon. You are not knowing whether the capital gains in long term, whether the capital gains in short term. This you have to go to the facts and check, right? So this is on capital gains. Then what else? Then again, if gross total income means all heads of income, of course. One important thing, students, one very important thing, note it down. Ki whenever a question is being asked to compute the gross total income or the total income, you follow the order of heads of income. Follow. This is of course not relating to this. I should not write it here. मैं ये थोड़ा सा because it's just came into my mind so that I should tell you. Once you are doing now your computation of total income or GTI, whenever he is being asked, you have to follow the sequence of heads of income. Only then you will be, getting the marks. What is the sequence? First head is your salary. So you compute the heads of salary. Even if your total income is being asked as an EA, you will be starting with the PGBP because you get the information initially in the question in the initial para. So you cannot start your computations with the head PGBP. You have to identify the information if any is given in your descriptive question relating to salaries, then identify that information. Then you will solve income under the head salaries only. Then look for the information which pertains to house property. Then you will do house property. Okay. So you have computed salaries head, then house property. Then only you are going to move to the PGBP head. So you have to follow the sequence which is given in your study material also. You follow the sequence PGBP because certain students what did they do? They know the income from other sources. They start the question from the other sources. You cannot do. If specifically question is asking you to compute the total income or the gross total income, then you have to follow the heads of income sequence. Then capital gains, fifth head is your other sources. So this is the heads you have to follow. Okay? Unless you follow these steps, you would not be able to get the marks. This is very important. Note it down. Now, moving to our case scenario. So I'm telling you, this is the gross total income. Again, for gross total income, if your answers have gone wrong for the earlier MCQs, then definitely you would not arrive at the correct answer for this gross total income also. This is also dependent on the other MCQs only, your tax payable amount, right? Then this is the another question, descriptive question. So now let's read the MCQs. First MCQs is with respect to house property. I think for knowing the house property, you have to read the information because it's not directly starting with the house property head of income, even if the question first is on house property, but the initial information is not pertaining to your house property. So for that purpose, you have to just read it thoroughly for identifying the information which pertains to MCQ 1. Okay. Mr. Anirudh, age 38 years, is a resident individual. It's been given here. Even if it's not given, it's resident or non-resident. Always, it's an presumption that it's resident. Okay, you will not solve the answer assuming that he is a non-resident unless information is clearly given that he is a non-resident. Okay, make sure this is an implied information. If he that always you will solve the question assuming he is a resident individual, or if the age is also not given, you cannot assume that he is a senior citizen. If age is specifically given, then only you will make him a senior citizen, otherwise no. But here in this question, of course, is given. So Mr. Anirudh, age 38 years, is a resident individual employed as a senior project consultant in a technology firm. He is paying tax under, this is very important information. Default tax regime is very, very important for you. Go through the default tax regime provision one day before your exam. Go through what are the exemptions which are not permissible under the in default tax regime. What are the deductions which are not available under default tax regime? This is very important for you. And you have to look for this information, whether the assessing is paying tax as per default tax regime or optional tax regime. If question is not specifying anything, then you have to see what the question requirement is. If the question is specifically is asking you that compute the deduction under chapter 6A, then you cannot assume it's a default tax regime because question itself is asking you to compute it. Na? So in that case, that assumption will not work that he is into default tax regime. However, if it's a full-fledged question and asking you to optimize the tax liability, in that case, you have to solve the question under both ways, under the default tax and the optional tax. Then you have to recommend yes, in this regime, the tax liability would be optimizing. So in this case scenario, it is clearly given and you have to look for each case scenario and the descriptive question about this information whether it's given. So he is paying tax under default tax regime. His gross salary is being given 15 lakh 75,000. Then TDS is given for 1 lakh 9,200. He is also providing technical consultancy services and charge a fee of 48,000 from startup A and 52,000 from startup B, whose turnover during the previous year 24-25 exceeds 5 crore rupees. For being in case of individual HUF, you have to look for this turnover limit during the previous year immediately preceding the relevant previous year, whether that person is liable for TDS or not. This is important one information. Then who opts for this? Anirudh opts for the presumptive taxation scheme under section 44 ADA. Okay, presumptive provisions are being tested. Then in November 25, he made the following outward remittances. Outward remittances are made in case of LRS through an authorized dealer on 10th November. One information, one question is based on TCS, right? One question is based on TCS with respect to remittances. That information is given here. What it says that in November 25, he made the following outward remittances under the LRS through an authorized dealer. Okay. So how much on 10th November he is making 8,50,000 to a university in Germany for his son's education, for the purpose of education. You know na 26206C1G provisions. Recall those provisions. On 25th November 2025, again he made another remittances of rupee 3,50,000 for to his brother in Australia for personal maintenance. This information is very important. For what purposes the remittances are being made, given outside India. Remittances are done outside India, right? This is important information. Then he owns, let's say other information should not be there for with respect to TCS. Here this is one of the information with respect to TCS. Then he owns a residential building consisting of 3 identical floors. Here this information pertains to house property. That is question number 1. Floor 1 is self-occupied, floor 2 was vacant for the whole year, floor 3 is let out at a monthly rent of 25,000. Floor 3 is let out. He paid municipal taxes of rupee 30,000 for the entire building. He himself paid, okay? The owner is paid, so eligible for deduction. Then interest of rupee 12 lakh on the house loan taken for its construction. So this house loan and the municipal taxes are for entire building. This is important, entire building. On March 2026, he sold commercial plot. He sold commercial plot, sold. So transfer takes place. It's information related to capital gains. Then commercial plot for 65 lakh, which he acquired on 31st of January 2024. Okay, this date is crucial for you when he acquired that land. Why I will tell you. For rupee 40 lakh, the stamp duty value on the date of transfer is 65 lakh rupees. Cost CII value is given. Now, first question is with is information loss from house property or income from house property has to be determined, and you have to determine whether it is eligible for set off against other heads of income, whether eligible or not. So, house property is in itself is enough. So, what are the option given? Loss from house property of rupee. Now, I would like to ask from you, what would be the income or loss from house property with respect to this information? This is on your screens. He has a building consisting of three identical floors. Floor 1 is self-occupied, floor 2 was vacant, and floor 3 is let out for a monthly rent of 25,000. Gayatri, you have done RTP, that's great. What about other students? Now the on the screen facts are given to you. You please determine the loss or income from house property. This law, Gayatri, this is a loss or income? Loss from house property. Yes, loss. Who else is answering? Yeah, please write down. Send me through chat. Yes, Shiva is also there. Very good, very good, very good. Okay. So you all agree how we are deriving at this loss? Would like to explain? Gayatri, you just unmute yourself and explain how you derive at this loss. Yeah, Gayatri?
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah. Please. Everyone is listening. You just tell them how you arrive at the loss.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
As we are using default tax regime, floor 1 is self-occupied, floor 2 is vacant, and floor 3 is let out for 25,000 per month. So it is per year is 3 lakh. Then
Hmm.
municipal taxes we have paid for 30,000 for whole the building. We need to divide by 3, 10,000. From that we will get 2,90,000. From 2,90,000, 30% deduction.
Yeah.
Section 24A.
Yeah.
That will be come to
I should write it down. Hmm.
87,000. If
Yeah.
we deduct 87,000, the debit 2 lakh 3,000. Then he had paid for 4 lakh for the interest for the whole building. No, 12 lakh for a whole building. If we divide by 3, it will come to 4 lakh. We will divide 2 lakh 3,000 minus 4 lakh. It will become to 1 lakh 97,000. There will be loss. As self-occupied, 1 and 2 will be considered as a self-occupied. And there will be no deduction for self-occupied under default tax regime for the loans. So the loss will be 1,97,000. It cannot be carried forward and can be set off in a default tax regime.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. So you are done with this concept. Very nice. So this is your interest. Thank you, Gayatri. I think this is concept is clear to you. Why? Because see, he has paid the interest with respect to self-occupied property also, and he an SSC can opt for two properties as a self-occupied, right? For the vacant land, vacant property also he can opt for a self-occupied. For the purpose of self-occupied property, you know now, in case of default tax regime, in case of default tax regime, no deduction is available for interest itself. No deduction is available for interest. So there would be no loss. There would be no loss. No loss from self-occupied property in case of default tax regime because no deduction itself is available. However, In case of let out property, students note it down. In case of let out property, if for example in this case if you see, deduction is allowable, not limited to 2 lakh rupees, entire amount of interest is allowable as deduction. Okay, and even in case of default tax regime, so there is a loss of 1,97,000. There is a loss can incur, but this loss again, what they have done, you cannot set it off against any head of income, right? What is the purpose? How it is, affecting your total income? Otherwise, if this loss is also permissible, in that case your total income going to reduce it. But under the default tax regime, what happens? They are saying you are not able to set it off against any head of income, against any head of income. What happens? Suppose if you have opted earlier, you have paid the tax under the optional tax regime in the earlier years, and from that years you are claiming, bringing, you are bringing your let out loss from let out house property. Suppose loss from let out house property of AY 24-25. Suppose, what happens? And in that year, in AY 24-25, you have, paid tax as per optional tax regime. Can you set it off? Carry forward and set it off this loss for AY 24-25, even if you are, under the default tax regime? Can you do it? This is another concept. Now you are clear, under the default tax regime, you would not be eligible for deduction with respect to interest, self-occupied, and you would not be eligible to set off the loss also, and you cannot carry it forward also. But if you have loss of house property of A by other years, in those years, you have you have paid the optional tax regime. You have paid the tax as per the optional tax. Can you set it off? Up to 2 lakh. Why, Gayatri? See, this is the crux point. Why 2 lakh? If you suppose for AY, this loss is of rupee 3 lakh. Suppose this loss is of rupee 3 lakh. And for AY 26-27, you have an income of rupee, income from house property is, suppose you have an income of 4 lakh. So even then you have to limit to 2 lakh rupees, or whether you can claim it also, because you are now paying as per the default tax regime. Here you are paying as per default tax regime. See, under the default tax regime, restriction is put with respect to the year in which you are paying as per the default tax regime, right? For that year you cannot carry it forward. But if you have paid as per the optional tax regime and you have some loss, then you can carry it forward and set it off entirely. Entirely. You can for let out property. Only for let out. Because self-occupied means they have restricted it for the interest also. Okay, because they are saying the losses which are restricting with respect to those which are disallowed under the default tax regime, you can need not take the setter of those losses. It should not be attributable to those deductions which are restricting. In that case, you cannot set it off. But if it is a loss from house, let out house property, that you can set it off entirely. 3 lakh mein you can set it. Carried it forward and set off कर सकते हो, because you are setting off in under the same head of income. You cannot set it off against other heads of income. Carried forward losses cannot be set off over other heads of income. It can be set it off only against the same head of income, right? This is important point कि आप earlier years का if you have paid and then the option tax regime and the loss pertains to a let out house property, then you can set it off entirely under this year, even if you are paying tax under the default tax regime. ठीक है? One concept you have clarified with the loss from house property. Then what else? We have solved it. So correct option is D. Okay. Next question is TCS. Let's revise this fastly. What are the TCS provision under section 206C? What information is being given here? Let's move to directly to the information that he made two remittances, right? He made two remittances. One is on 10th of November, another is on 25th of November. In the first remittance, what happens? He made 8,50,000 funded from personal savings for education purpose के लिए. Amendment being brought in last year that if you are remitting the amount for the purpose of education out of the loan from an financial institutions which are specified under section 80E, in that case you would not be deducting any TCS. But in this case he is remitting the amount out of his personal savings. And the threshold limit again is also increased. I have opened this for you. If you see here, for the purpose of education earlier, 5%, 0.5% is deductible, but now no TCS is deductible once you are remitting that amount out of the loan borrowed from financial institution. Okay, and it is for education purposes. But for if it is for out of personal savings and it is for educational purposes also, or for any purposes even that for that matter, there is an increase in the threshold limit. There is an increase in threshold limit from 7 lakh to 10 lakh rupees. There is an increase in threshold limit. Up to 10 lakh rupees, you need not to deduct any TCS. But once it is above 10 lakh rupees, then you will be deducting TCS. So what happens in this case? What would be the answer? 8,50,000 TCS is attracted? TCS? No, because it is not exceeding 10 lakh rupees. And what about the other remittances? He made to for his brother. He made to his brother. What is the rate? Yeah, right. Gayatri, you are right. What about others? Tell me what rate of TCS would be attracted? On what amount? Yes. So exceeding 10 lakh rupees, he has done this 8,50,000. Still, he has remained with 1,50,000 rupees because the threshold limit is 10 lakh rupees. Up to 10 lakh, no TCS for any purpose, whether it's for any purpose you can do for medical or education. Of course, there is a difference in rate of TCS. If it is for medical or education purposes, it is for other purposes. What is the rate difference? Can anyone tell me? TCS or remittances? ये तो आज ही आप याद कर लो. You just revise this, है ना? You learn this remittances provisions with the help of this case scenario. Let's revise it. TCS remittances, if it is for medical under LRS, ठीक है? Or education purposes, not out of loan from financial institutions. Okay, not from financial institutions, other purposes. Okay, और एक आपका आता है overseas tour package. वहां पे भी TCS is attracted for overseas tour packages के लिए. So in case of education other than from loan, ये ध्यान रखिएगा, लोन से नहीं होना चाहिए. TCS is attracted above 10 lakhs. What is the rate? At the rate 5%. Okay. Here TCS is attracted above 10 lakh. What is the rate? 20%. And in case of overseas tour packages, TCS is attracted at the rate 5% up to 10 lakhs, right? 20% above 10 lakhs. This is important कि यहाँ पे TCS 10 lakh पे भी attract हो रहा है in case of overseas tier package at the rate 5% and above 10 lakhs at the rate 20%. If you see, when chart is given to you, just take you through that chart which is given in your study material itself. If you have open your study materials, just I want to show you where it reconfirms. Module 2 में which section it is? Third section, fourth section. Yes. Let me take you through this. TCS 206C1G. सेक्शंस के बारे में आपको सेक्शंस लिखना है नहीं लिखना. Dear students, many students ask us whether we have to write the section number or not. See students, section numbers, there is no specific marking allocated for writing the section numbers, but definitely it add value to your answers if you write the section numbers. And remembering the provision with the help of section numbers also become easy if you are knowing the section numbers. So if you are remembering the section number, write it down in your answers. Okay? If you are not remembering, so do not quote the wrong section numbers because it gives a wrong impression in the minds of the paper setter. This is very important. If you are remembering, write it down because it add value to your answers. You have a good impression over the examiners, right? So whoever is checking your paper is having a good impression that yes, he has done his studies well and he knows the section numbers. He or she knows the section numbers, right? So in this table, what is given? Where the amount is for purchase of an overseas tour package, 5% in 10 lakhs and 20% thereafter. If the loan is out of remittance is out of loan, there is nil. If it is for the purpose of education or medical, 5% of the amount aggregate of the 10 lakh rupees and 20% of the amount aggregating 10 lakh rupees. The 10 lakh limit is applicable for all the things. It is not different or separate for education or medical or for other purposes. 10 lakh is cumulatively applicable. But for overseas packages, 10 lakh limit is to be seen separately. This is given in your FAQs. There are guidelines are being given. Go through these guidelines also. Some of the guidelines are very important. The questions are framed based on these guidelines. Then, so you know, only 2 lakh pay TCS is attracted at the rate 20% because it is for other purposes, right? So answer would be 40,000. Clear? यहाँ तक clear हुआ? Is it clear to you? Another important concept which is capital gains. Dear students, please note down in capital gains what is important. This I should tell you. In long-term capital gains, you know na, for a very long time we got the indexation benefits. I have noticed that even at the final level students are doing this wrongly, right? They have provided still the indexation benefits, which is not available. Indexation is not available if transferred since you are assessed for the assessment year 26-27. Your transaction must be related to the previous year 25-26. So in that case, no indexation is available, right? No indexation is available except when it is available. They have given this grandfathering. This except condition is very important. Please note it down because in one or the other form question is being asked. Kab? In case of resident individual. In case of resident individual और HUF के केस में इंडेक्सेशन कंप्यूटेशन के टाइम नहीं मिलेगा. You will be getting the indexation benefit only for determining the tax liability on the amount of capital gains for the purpose of capital long-term capital gains in respect of immovable property which were acquired, land or building or both. It can be land also, it can be building also, or both also. So acquired before what date? Just tell me your date. What is the date? Acquired before? Fatafat, just tell me the date. Yes, yes. So this date is very important. Remember, 23rd 7 2024. And when it is taxable in this year, when the transfer takes place in the previous year 25-26 only, right? Then only it will be taxable in the assessment 26-27. So if that immovable property is acquired before 23/7/2024 and transferred for taxing in the previous this assessment year in 25-26, of course thereafter it is, but for you, for your purpose, it is AY 26-27, so it should be transferred from this previous year 25-26 only, right? In that case, what you can do while computing the capital gains, computing the no indexation, okay, but for tax on LTCG, for determining the tax on LTCG, you will provide the indexation and compare the tax liability, right? For tax on LTCG, you compute कैसे करोगे? Tax at the rate 12.5%, पता है ना rate 12.5%, or tax at the rate 20%. This is without indexation. This is without indexation, or this is with indexation. Okay, when you compare at this time, when you compare at this time, then only you will compute with indexation. Here without indexation, only for this purpose. Once you determine this tax, so excess tax has to be ignored. Excess tax has to be ignored, right? So in that case, you would, whatever be the beneficial for you, we will take that, take the lower one, lower amount as your tax. On that lower amount, you have to again see and look for the total income for applicability of surcharge. Applicability of surcharge. If you have seen this MTP2, MTP2 series 2, किसने solve करी है? Series 2. If you have, how many of you have solved MTP2 series 2? Gayatri, Shiva, have you done it? Series 2 MTP. This provision is, given there. For practicing this provision, a question MCQ is given in MTP to MCQ 6. Yes, there we have tested this provision. What happens? The total income as per computing without indexation is above 1 crore. Above 1 crore. So surcharge is applicable at what rate? Fast, surcharge is applicable at what rate if the total income is exceeding 1 crore in case of an individual? Tell me, if the total income exceeds 1 crore, what would be the rate of surcharge? 15%. Yes. Or what happens? The tax computed without indexation is coming to 1 crore 18 lakhs. Right? And capital gains computed without indexation is coming to 49 lakhs. It is below 50 lakh rupees itself. But you will compute the tax only, applying the 20% rate on this amount. And here you will compute the 12.5%. And this is only the income of the assessee. What happens? Whatever be the tax you are computing at the rate 20% on this 49 lakhs, it would be increased by surcharge at the rate 15%. This would be increased by surcharge at the rate 15%, though your tax is less in 20%. But surcharge has to be applied at the rate 15% plus HEC at the rate 4%. Whoever not solved that question which is given in the MTP series 2, do solve it. This is a very interesting question, not only with respect to LTCG, it is testing your other provisions also. Do solve it. So what happens in our this case scenario, which is given in the RTP, you will look for the what would be the long-term capital gains. See, the asset is acquired before 23rd of July 2024 and it transferred in March 2026. What happens? Long-term capital gains would be 25 lakhs, not with the indexation. Okay, long-term capital gains has to be computed without indexation. Okay, so 25 lakh would be your long-term capital gains. While determining the tax liability, you will take the tax on the amount which is lower. So in this case, tax has to be determined at the rate 20%. Okay, and then you will determine the tax at the sorry, this is not 20%, this is 12.5%. Sorry. This is 12.5%. Okay. So for determining this 20%, what would be the tax amount? You have to compute the CII. CII, what you do? For the purpose of computing CII, what you do? What is the cost of the acquisition is 40 lakh rupees. 40 lakh into 376 and it acquired in the year 23-24 only. So it's coming to 348. Yes. So this is coming higher, right? Indexation benefit mein cost of acquisition is higher and the computing at the rate 20% is also higher. Accordingly, in the MCQ, if you go long-term capital gains in the first option, long-term capital gain is if by computing this now, your tax is coming to 4,35,000. Or long-term capital gain is of course lower, but taxes has to be computed at the rate 20%. So tax is higher. So what it will take? The lower one. Lower one tax is 3,12,500. Okay. So A is the correct answer. Is it clear? Clear to all of you? Then in this case, gross total income is being asked. Now you know your one income. Even loss from house property also you know. But that loss you cannot set it off. Right? You cannot set it off under other heads of income. You have a LTCG. You can reduce your tax liability now by just setting it off. If you are under the optional tax regime, you can set it off. But under the default tax regime, you cannot set it off. So of course, while opting for the default or while opting for the optional, you will take and this thing. But here he is clearly question is saying that you have to compute, assuming that he is paying under the default tax regime. I have not computed. You try to compute in the which regime his tax liability would be reduced. Of course, question is asking you, but practically, if someone comes to you and asking you whether I should go for the optional tax regime or the default tax regime, you can compare the tax liability under both the regimes and just inform him, yeah, your tax liability would be reduced in this case. You can go for it. What happens in the default tax regime? The tax slabs are very high, 4 lakh, Up to 4 lakh, there is no tax. In case of optional, it is 2,50,000 basic exemption limit. In default tax regime, basic exemption limit is 4 lakh itself. From 4 lakh to 8 lakh, it is 5%. There from 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh, it is 5%. Then 5 lakh to 10, it is your this 20%. Then above 10 lakh, it is coming to 30%. So their tax slabs are very broad and very, taxing at a very higher rate. Whereas in a default tax regime, the tax rates are very limited. Because see, above 24 lakh, only 30% tax rate is there. So tax rate ka comparison karke only you will come to know. Of course, you are not eligible for set it of the long term this loss from house property, but it is possible your tax rate computation would vary. So you can compute it and check it. Okay. So what happens in case of Anirudh? He has a LTCG. This we have computed. He has LTCG of rupee, LTCG of rupee 25 lakhs, right? Then what other income is given? Salary income is given, right? In the question, loss from house property, leave it, even if it is there. Salary income mein how much salary is given? 15 lakh 75,000 is given. Gross is written here. Gross is written. Basically, in case of these type of questions, na, they must be giving you it is computed figure or the gross paper for the purpose of providing the standard deduction. If basic salary is written, then also you will take up. If gross salary is written, so 15 lakh 75,000 is the gross salary. So from this 15 lakh 75,000, you would be eligible for 75,000 standard deduction. Right? Higher deduction is available in case of default tax regime. Under option tax regime, it is 50,000. So it is coming to 15 lakh rupees. Got it? From there, another information is given that he has received, he has earned the income from fee for technical services of rupee 48,000 or fee for technical services. Nahi. It is consultancy services. It is consultancy services, technical consultancy. And the word technical consultancy is given from in the professional services case. This is professional fees. This is professional fees, not fees for technical services. Because fee for technical services ke liye tax rate is, TDS rate is 2%. Whereas in case of if it is from professional fees other than professional services, then TDS has to be deducted at the rate 10%. 194 GM. What happens? 48,000 from here started A and 52,000 from startup B. What is the presumptive rate? If the person is opting for the presumptive taxation scheme under section 44 ADA, and he's not maintaining any books of accounts, he is not getting its book audited, and his this limit is 50 lakh, not exceeding 50 lakh rupees professional receipts, gross receipts, or 75 lakh rupees if their gross this payments digital, he's receiving the amount in digital form, not more than, not less than 95%. In that case, he can opt for presumptive taxation. So it is coming to 1 lakh rupees overall profession receipts into 50% would be his presumptive income. So it is 50,000. This is all income, salary income and the professional fees income. So it is coming to 15 lakh, 50,000, 15 lakh plus 50. This is as the income, and you have LTCG income. What would be the gross total income? 25 lakh plus salary has pay income 15 lakh or 50,000 is your under the head PGPP. Right? It is coming to 40 lakh 50,000. Okay, so C is the correct answer. In MCQ 5, basically, this question is testing you the default tax regime rates plus your TDS concept. TDS provisions ki applicability they are testing on you. Right? So they are saying you have to compute the tax payable after considering the TDS and TCS amount. It is coming to 40 lakh 50,000 is this, and you know your tax at the rate 12.5% is less. It is coming to 3 lakh. How much it is coming? 3 lakh 25, 12,500. Na? 3 lakh 12,500. Right. And tax on the remaining income 15 lakh LTCG. Remaining income 15.50 lakhs. It is coming to how much it is coming? Just calculate. Tell me. On 15 lakh 50,000, how much is the tax? Tell me, calculate करके. Yes, 1 lakh 12,500. Very good. So overall it is coming to 4 lakh 25,000 plus HEC. HEC plus करो कितना आएगा? Plus 17,000. Yes. What is this 4,500? HEC, you have to compute the HEC. HEC is coming to 17,000. It is coming to 4 lakh 42,000 is your tax liability. From this 4 lakh 42,000, from this 4 lakh 42,000, what are the TDS or TCS which is collected or deducted from him? TDS, एक hidden information है. One is given TCS, you know, in one of the MCQ they have asked you to compute the TCS. So you know there is a TCS of 40,000. So he can take it 40,000. Then TDS is deductible. One is given on the salary income pay. One TDS is given on the salary. What is the amount of that? Is 1,09,200. 1,09,200 is that TDS. One more information is given, which is not clearly mentioning ki what TDS is to be deducted or not. No information, no MCQ is there. Is it with respect to section 194 IA? 194 IA. Right? 194 IAM TDS is deductible at the rate 1% if your stamp duty value or the sales consideration is exceeding 50 lakh rupees, right? 50 lakh rupees. In that case, you have to deduct this amount at the rate 1%, right? In this case, stamp duty value and the actual sales consideration is equal, right? Equal it is. If you see, tell you exactly it is not less than, stamp duty value is not less than, it's not exceeding, it's not less than 50 lakh rupees and above pay, it has would be deducted, would be deducted on 50 lakh rupees or more. This amount has to be, TCS has to be collected. Okay. Is required to deduct TDS at the rate 1% of the consideration for transfer of stamp duty value, whichever is higher. TDS is you have to see the stamp duty value and the consideration both. If the stamp duty value exceeds 50 lakh rupees, then you have to deduct. And if it is your this thing, your actual sales consideration, even if it does not exceed, then also if stamp duty exceeds, then TDS has to be deducted at the rate 1%. So what amount? It is coming to 65,000, right? One more TDS is there, 194I के अलावा, 194I, apart from 194I, one more TDS is there, that is 194J. 194J में at the rate 10% in case of professional services, it is coming to 5,200. Okay, and there is a threshold limit enhancement from 30,000 to 50,000 rupees. So TDS on 48,000 rupees would not be deducted, because from startup A, from startup B, the amount is exceeding that threshold limit of rupee 50,000. In that amount, 10% TDS is to be deducted. In that case, it is coming to, your answer is D, 2,22,600. So even if certain information has been hidden, which is not clearly being mentioning regarding 194 IA, because for other information, MCQ is there with respect to TCS, MCQ is there. With respect to salaries, TDS is given. But with respect to your professional fees, no information is given by the TDS about TDS. No information is given whether for with respect to 194 IA. So this you have to gather on your own whether TDS is deductible or not, right? Whether TDS was deducted or not. So since it's clearly mentioning after considering TDS amount, you have to compute the tax payable. You will reduce these TDS amount. Anything which would like to ask from these concepts? Anything? Any query? We have solved this RTP questions. We have done with certain concepts, loss from house property under default tax regime, under option tax regime. We have done with the concept of capital gains, all those things. One important thing which before concluding our session, I would like to take you through how to approach this PGBP head, because I noticed we have received many queries from the students that in case of PGBP they are finding it difficult to solve their questions. So how to approach that PGBP? I'm just going through and telling you this heads of income we have given this performer. If you see this performer, which will be helping you out always, see you will start with, because what happens, the students keep on asking ma'am what to do, the reasoning which we need to substantiate while making the adjustment, whether we should write then and there or we should refer to the notes. Dear students, if I am the examiner, I am the paper checker, then I would be finding it easy if you write in then and there, because substantiating your adjustments along with the reasoning is very very important for you, right? You have to mention in your answer sheets that why you are making this treatment, if you're adding it, why you are adding it, if you're reducing it, why you are reducing it. That adjustment is need to be given, that reasoning is need to be stated in your answers. Okay, so this is required. So in PGBP, what you do when you have started your computation of the under the head this profits and gains from business or profession, what you do, you will just pick it up the one this thing net profit as per the statement of profit and accounts. You will take it up here. Then what you do, you will add this expenses debited to profit and loss but not allowable, because what happens now, you just identify the information which has to be added up and which has to be reduced. Combining together, it would make your work easy to do the computations. Otherwise, one add, one less, one add, one less, make your solution more cumbersome. Better to, segregate this information, what adjustments need to be adding up, what adjustment need to be reduced, what adjustments. So that segregation is very much needed. And substantiate your answers with the reasoning then and there, instead of going to the separate refer the working note, refer this note. It would be very difficult for you also, for the examiner also. Better to write it then and there immediately. So I am telling you, if you have started with, for example, income tax is disallowed. Income tax is disallowed. If you are not remembering this 48.2, then you just write income tax paid is disallowed as per the provisions of the act. So you just write in this format. The word disallowed is, please write down it. Then if it is saying if you are not deducted the TDS, in case of TDS, if you see, it is saying if it is deducted within this previous year and deposited on or before the due date of filing return of income, no disallowance would be attracted. If suppose the TDS itself is deducted after the end of the previous year 25-26, then in that case, even if it is deposited before due date, in that case the deduction disallowance would be attracted, and that 30% disallowance would be allowed in the subsequent year in which you have deducted and deposited. This is important. So you have to write, since 30% of disallowance is attracted, because TDS is not deducted and not remitted on or before this due date of 139(1)(a). This information is sufficient for you, but you have to write it in your answer. 30% of sum is disallowed. Because in case suppose some computation gone wrong, you will get the marks for this 30% some payable word you are writing in your answer sheets. If you are stating it, you will fetch the marks for your computations. Likewise, so this is the manner what you have to add on. These are the specifically very generally asked adjustments from these sections basically. In case if you are making the payment or incurring the expenditure on a related person, in that case, then any expenditure incurred in case of cash payments. What happens if you have allowed the cash payments in a particular year, and the subsequent year what you have done, you have made the payment in cash. In the previous year 24-25, suppose you have allowed the expenditure on accrual basis, but in the subsequent year you have made the payment in cash. What will happen in that case? That is allowed earlier become your deemed income of this previous year 25-26, right? This is important concept in this cash payment, right? So you have to specify clearly when it is become your deemed income, you have to write it become your deemed income. Again you have to add it back. Here you are not disallowing it. In that case, because it was allowed earlier on accrual basis, but in subsequently you made the payment in the next subsequent years, it would be deemed as your income. In that case, it would become your income, and your reasoning would be differing. Here you are writing since the cash payment exceeding 10,000 rupees, it is disallowed. There the reasoning would be different. So reasoning matters. Here you are doing, here also you are adding it, there also you are adding it, right? But the reasoning is different for the both things. Okay, proceed in this manner. MSME is one of the important concepts. Go through it carefully. What is the MSME? Right there, it's being allowed only on actual payment basis within the prescribed time limits. If you have made the payment, right, then only it will be eligible. Personal expenses are not allowable. Capital expenditure not allowable. What can be the type of capital expenditure? इसके respect में what type of questions being asked? If it is a capital expenditure, it is not allowable. Then it happens because depreciation is allowed on that, na? So you should be clear with this. Once I have added, it has a two adjustment. You have to disallow it, and in the second adjustment, you would be providing for the depreciation on that capital expenditure part. Okay. Then you have to remember these are given in the additional information, and this is related information to the whatever is amount is debited or credited. So that combinations you have to analyze before proceeding and to solve the questions itself beforehand. Okay, so make use of this. Family planning expenses only allowed to a company, so it will help you out to overall things. Apart from this, if you are noticing certain things, you just write it down so that it will become your full-fledged performer, full-fledged information for the purpose of computing the PGPP. Okay, certain things which are allowable as deduction but not debited, in that case this is given. Then your income credited to this, but it is pertains to some other heads of income. This performer is very going to be very useful for you. Once you are revising it, go through the whole entire section itself, entire provision, to have a understanding of these adjustments, detailed understanding of these adjustments. So this is all about, I think, I hope that you found this session useful. So in case of any doubt, students, I must say, please do attempt the MTPs, right? Do attempt the MTPs, whatever be the short time, you just plan ki how to revise and for the all these subjects, because you are preparing for other subjects also. Just allocate your time to each and every subject in a day, that I would be practicing income tax questions for 2 hours. I would be doing for GST for 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever. If the time you want, ki this is I have done full preparation for this subject, I need some little time. Whatever you have not, revised so much, you take up those subjects, give more time. So this is all about for the your income tax law. Anything, any doubt, you just raise your hands, and then we can wind up the session. Any doubt? Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you so much for your nice words and appreciable words. Any query? Any other query? or we should wind up? Just give a thumbs up, or just believe in yourself. First of all, have confidence. I noticed that Gayatri, Shiva, they have, done a good practice and they have a good hold. Just make sure whenever questions comes to you now, you just don't scare to see the questions, because what happens now, once we see you, you would not find something very familiar, but you know the provisions. This is the strength of you. For income tax specifically, I'm telling you, it is possible that certain questions are very unfamiliar to you. It's not that you will pick it up from your study material, from your RTP, or from your these things, but whatever be the question, they are based on the provisions. So you know the provisions, then you can attempt it very well. That's all. So have confidence, start, stay calm, because ultimately whole of your preparation, whole of your this your study will be 3 hours time. It's the work of 3 hours time. Whatever you are going to do in this 3 hours time, this is only going to tell you what is your score, what is your result. So in that time, that is a very crucial time. Stay calm, have confidence, and start with a positive note. Whatever question you know well, take it first, so that it would motivate you, it would boost your confidence throughout your examination. You are going to do well. So take care of your health, have a good sleep, take a healthy food only during this examination time. That's all. And with this note, all the very best to all of you for examination, and wishing you all the very best to you. Thank you so much. We can wind up the session. Thank you.